Uh, so okay, let's move again from the Windows Forms topics, starting from the first one, application. So in the first application, we created the form, and we used it for drawing some signs, some marks in it, and you can also have the context menu. In the context menu, you chose the colors, the thickness of your drawing pen, and so on. So what is interesting here, you just drag the element from the element panel and put it on your form. Like here, we have the label element, and we have the scroller. This element we used for increasing the thickness of the pen with which we draw some image. But first we also created the class. The class form, it's already in our main form, and we just added the initializer of the form. This one. Initialize component. Then we added list of points. We created the length, the height of the image. And we also use this scroll bar that is not visible until we have some action. Then we added some more functions on the click action. So like this, you choose the element, and this element has a name. When you click on it, the method will be automatically created inside your form. And inside the form, you can write in the functionality of your button. So like here we have the color dialog, and this here we will have the dialog box. Inside it, we choose the color and start drawing. And we also have the thickness. When we click on it, it will become visible, and we can draw. Now we can increase the thickness of our pen. And then we have the save. On the save button, we have the copy of the image that we have drawn in our file, like this picture save. And this here we have the file name. What else we have is the action on the mouse up. So we need to draw the image itself. So when we have the mouse move in this, we find the point where we started our drawing, like this point P, and then we use the width of our scroll bar, and if we have it down, then we use the paint of the brush that will connect these two coordinates. So the point that our mouse was before, and the point that it is now. In this case, like we have this point and this, and they become connected with our like this move action. So this action is like this. So let's choose cover. So the first point, the coordinates, yeah, point P, the x and y coordinates, and the second coordinates, and they will be connected on the mouse move action. So this here is a mouse move. Yeah, so this is the whole functionality of our Paint application, and we save the image to the file. So the next presentation is about exception handling. In the exception handling, we talked about the forms validation. So in this case, when you have many text boxes, like this, and the list of text boxes, and you have a list of labels where you type in the name for each of the text box, and take a look here. This element is different. It is not just a text box, it's already a combo box. And inside the combo box, we have a list of values. And then when we click on the submit button, we get the functionality, and we also validate these forms, throw in some exceptions in the case that we have input something incorrect. We also have the context menu, the cover dialog, and the error provider that give us some this error results in the form. And we need to create the class again because we have the form. So for example, this is a student form, and the student should have the name, the code, the gender, and the node. So that's why we create 4 fields. Here they are: name, code, gender, node, and then we create our constructor, empty constructor, when we don't initialize our fields and they get the default null or zero values. But when we have some parameters, input parameters for the constructor, we will initialize our fields with the values that we use as our parameters. So here they are. And we also use our properties where we set and get the values of our fields. So here we have them. And when we click the button on the click action, we check the fields in the text box. So for example, when we have the empty, text box for the name, now we show an error, enter your name. Now when we have another empty text box, for example, the code text box, we show an error, enter the code. And when we have the empty gender, we show this message, and so on. But we can also have another problem like this. When something is in the incorrect format. This practically happens when, for example, we input the text string instead of the integer value. In this case, the validation should show us a catch. And in this case, we use this message box, show the format exception happened. So this is like this. In this case, this happens when we input the value of the incorrect format. When everything is fine, we use this exception, student has been created. But when the validation is successful. And we also have the our own validation method. In this validation method we can write some functionality like this. The string node, we assign the text value to it. If its length is less than 10, we show an error message box, enter a longer string. With the two buttons, OK, cancel, and the icon will be like this warning. And we also have the exception when the invalid data has been entered. In the context menu, what we have is the change of the color of our elements, and finally the exit. On the exit we have the application exit, so we just close our application form. So this is the functionality. What we have: the name, the code, gender, and node. In this case, when we click, there is a validation, and you see by default it is the exclamation mark. This happens because these fields were empty, and we have the condition where this case shouldn't exist. So we also have the check for the length of the string, and in this case we have a window, enter a longer string like this. So here is also the case. What is important also is the list of CRUD operations. So when we have the form, we want it to allow us to create some new instance, to be able to update this instance, to be able to delete it, and so on. In this way, the CRUD operations are very important. Let's take a look. And in this case, we will write to the text files. We can also have different sources, especially the popular one databases. When you will have the course about the database, you will take a look how you can keep your data in the relational tables. And these CRUD operations are extremely important with the applications where you need to work with the database. But we can also work with the files. So another type, the flat files, where we can also insert the new value, and we can also save it there. For when we work with the files, we use our library using system input output like this. And inside it you have the stream, file stream with the name, and you use it to open the file by the file name with some file access mode. In this case, for example, we want it to open for the read operation. Now, when we want to write it, we open it with the file access write. In this case, we only write some values in it. But generally, we can use this the stream writer also, like this stream writer, with a new name. Here we have our data application with the fields like this. The labels that are the code, name, and node. And we have the text boxes here, where we insert some values. And then we want to add it. When we add, we put this new entry on our grid. From it, we can also delete it. And we can also save it to the file and restore from the file. And all the values will display here, so in this form. So this is an example where we have the student class. In this case, we also create a new class, student, with the fields code, name, and node. And we use a constructor to assign some parameters to it by default. So for the code we have C, for the name we have N, and for the node we have node. This, and we use the proper name and node are private by default, and we cannot address them. So we use properties. And then we add actions to our buttons. And these actions can be, for example, when we have this button click, what we do, this is the action for the populate. This I'll highlight it here. We can rename the button by default, but here we changed only the text that displays on the button, but not its name. That's why it is called by default the first button that we drag on our form from the list of elements. So what we do here, we create a new array, student array, with 4 elements, and for each of them we add the code, the name, and the node about our student. Then we want to display them in our list view. So we create the new list view, and we add some sub-items. In the sub-items we have the name and the node. Then we use the element's name, so list view 1. So this is exactly this list view, to which items we assign this list view this element with the values. On the second button, click this like this, the second button. In this case, we want to add just more entries to our list view. In this case, we create a new object as of the student class, and inside it we use this parameters, text from the code, from the name, and from the node. And then we initialize a new element item of the type list view item. Here we add the name, the node, and then we just assign it the new element of the list view. We add some item here like this, so it will be this element. What will happen when we have something incorrect? We have the message box error input data. When we have the different types that we insert, for example, here we also have the float or string, and if the format, the type of the data is incorrect, we will have this we will have this message. Then what we do, we clear the forms. Sorry. So here we have the forms clear. And we will delete what was entered in our fields values. Then we have another button. So this is so the next button, delete. So we need to do the opposite operation. We need to delete the entry from our grid. And this is this function. We populate every our list, and if we check if it was highlighted like this, the checked property is true, then we remove this item. So just a very simple method. So we go through the whole list view item, all the items inside it, and we check, and if it is true, we remove. Then what we need to do is also the write operation to the files. So on the button click, we create a new file stream, the file stream for the file, and we have this access mode right. Then we create a new list, array list, and we go through all the items inside our list view grid. We added to the new array list like this user. We create a new array list, a list. We use this method for it, add, and we just append some new item to it. Then we use the serialization. Here we want to write our array list to this file stream reader, and then we close it, and we also clear the list view item. So when we write it to the file, our form is cleared, and we will not see the previous elements that we have just entered. And the last method, what we need to do is to restore from the file. So when we click on it, we need to open the same file, but with the file access as a read. So the file access mode read. And now we also deserialize what is inside our file. We assign it to the array list, and then we go through all the elements, and we add it to our list view, and we close the file. We also need two other methods for the list view item check. If it is checked, we use the back cover, and it is as gray. And we also use the item activate. In this case, if we have this item selected, we use it like this orange red. So here we have this form. Here we have these values, the default values when we click on the button populate. So this we assign by default. Then we just add some elements, and we can do some actions. So I can uh, run the application. So here is our class, student class. Here we have our form. Um, Actually, this is a validation. So I need to open another one. Here it is, the file application. The student class is almost the same as it was in the previous application. So we have the fields, code name and node. And we have our constructor with the methods and properties. So in the forms, as you can see, we all have the actions for these buttons. So where we can change the name is like this. When we click on the button, here we change the text. For example, when we change it something like this, new button. See, it's changed, but it is only what displays. To change the name itself, so here it is. So this is a name. So by default it was button 1. If we change it, we also need to change this method name, button 1 click, because if we change the name here, it will not know the name of the method that it is assigned to. like here we have it. It is clear that this method is assigned to the to this forms element. So here, like we write, let's do the population. So here is the list of. So here is the list of our records that we created by default. So as you see, we have it gray. So this was assigned. This cover was assigned for only when we have the checked. And you see when we also have it selected, it will have the color, this orange color. So here is how it works. If we want to delete the record, we do it like this. So we need to check it and delete. So if we populate again, so we add one more. Let's again delete them. And then we can enter the code. You So error input data. Yeah, this happens because we have the incorrect format for the code. What about the node? Okay, let's check it. Yeah, actually for the node, we need to change the type to the string. So now we have added them. So let's save into the file. Now we have this clear method and the form has been cleared. So where we can find it, okay, let's go to the programs. And here we have our student file. So here it is. It's in the binary format. That's why it displays like this. Like here. We have it open in the binary form. So what happens when we want to restore? Again, we have restored. So we restore from this file what was by default. Let's delete the file, run again. Yeah, you see here we read from the file. So here is how we work with the files and the CRUD operation. And there is also the possibility to use XML files. We also want to keep our data in the XML file, not just this binary one. There is one specification. When we use the XML, we use the text, and in the text we use some specific names. And we also have this like the hierarchical structure. We start from the main tag, and then we move lower to the tags that are inside it. Like this, we have the 3 students inside the tag students, and for each we have also the name and age inside the student tag. And student tag has a property ID. So here we have again the our class student with the list of properties and the constructor. So the functionality here with the forms initialization as was before. We have a new array list where we add some new students with the name and the ID of it. Then we use the show array students, where we want to add them to the form. And we'll save it to the XML file. Let's take a look here. So what we have here, the two methods, they initialize the class itself, the two methods. Then we have also the menu strip. What is interesting here, when we have this add to XML, we create a new document, XML document, where we create the new element like this student. We set the attribute. We create again the element name inside the just our node. And we save it into the XML files. Well, here we have the method show the list of students, like this show array list. So now we have our file. So here's the way we write to the XML file.